Hi everyone, and welcome to this video tutorial. In this clip, we're going to be completing Lab17 Task 2, which is taking that role that we created a minute ago and using that to assign permissions for a user so that they can create a VM. Now we need a number of different things for the user to be able to create the VM. First thing we're going to start with is the container in vSphere that they can create the VM in. Pick on VMs and templates. I'm going to use Lab VMs. If by selecting that, you click on Manage and then Permissions, you're going to see the list of permissions that are created. Need to create a new one, so I'm going to click on Add. I have to specify my user, so I'm going to click on Add here. I'm going to pick the ITSS domain, and from that, it's going to be standard user. So I'll add that guy in, and then I'll say OK. So now we've got our user here. I'm going to pick the roles dropdown, go down to the bottom of that, pick the VM creator role that I created a minute ago. So now we've got the role, we've got the user. I'm going to say OK, and the permission will be created. And Flash has crashed. Awesome. Hang on a second. I'll let that reinitialize. And we'll get back into it once that's done. I'm just going to pause here for a sec while that reinitializes. Okay, we're back. Flash is reinitialized. We can see on the Lab VMs folder that we now have a new permission. So this user called standard user in the ITSS domain has the VM creator role. That's assigned specifically on this object, so it's not inherited from anything. So that is the container. We need to do the same thing for a host, because we need to be able to create a VM on a host. I'm going to quickly go back to home. I will go into the host and clusters view. Going to set this permission on ESXi1. So I'll pick ESXi1, manage, permissions, and we can see here, again, no additional permissions. So I'm going to say add, and the same as before. I'm going to go in and say I want to add in ITSS. I want standard user, add them in, say OK. Pick from my drop-down my role, OK, and I've now got my permission added in to the host. A couple things left to do. I need storage. I also need a network. So I'm going to click on storage. We're going to use the NFS data store for this. I'll pick on the NFS data store. Already in manage. I'll select permissions. Add. Pick ITSS. Pick my standard user. Add them in. OK. So here's my user. Once again, I'm going to pick my role and OK. So when that's finished, I've now given the user permission to the container, the host, the storage. Last thing I need to worry about is my network. So I'm going to pick on the network view. I'm going to expand out. Production is the network that I want to give user access to. Again, I'll go into manage. I'll go into permissions. I will add. And again, I have to specify security principal, pick ITSS, standard user, add them in, and OK. So here's my user. Pick on the drop-down, pick the VM creator role, OK. And once that finishes up, we will see the permission added into this list as well. There it is. So we're now basically set. We are now in a position that we can try out our role and see if that user can add in the VM. That's going to be in the next task. So we're finished up with task 2. To wrap for the video, hopefully this was helpful, and we'll see you next time.